Hi and welcome to the running channel. I'm Andy and today together with Anna we're going to be taking a look at the best running shoes out there right now.
Now we've been running in all of these shoes to test them out and we don't get paid by the brands to say nice things about them, so what you're about to see are our genuine opinions.
To help you out we've split those shoes into different categories, starting with brand new launches, then updates to existing models, followed by support shoes, fast shoes for race day, and then finally shoes that have stood the test of time that we think are still worth a look. Before we dive straight in though, if you haven't already, please do hit subscribe. It would really help us out. And tap the bell icon if you want to be notified when we upload new videos all about running, which we do every week. Now, let's jump in. First up, we're going to take a look at what we think are the best brand new shoes that have been released recently. So these are completely new models that didn't exist previously.
The Under Armour Flow Velociti Wind is a shoe that Under Armour describe as simply fast, and we'd have to agree. This is a shoe if you are looking at picking up the speed. It's a neutral shoe which looks quite plain from its outsole, but there's a lot of technology behind this. Firstly, the shoe is Bluetooth enabled, which is similar to a lot of Under Armour's more recent updates. So it has Bluetooth within the sole that connects to the Under Armour Map My Run app, which means that when you're out on the run, it gives you live feedback on running metrics like your cadence. Another interesting feature of this shoe is the lack of rubberized outsole, which adds to how lightweight it is and also the fast element of the shoe. Despite the lack of rubberized outsole, it does grip really well to the road, so there's no problems if you're trying to pick up a bit of speed and the ground is wet underneath you. I had no problems going around corners in these shoes. One thing that I would say is that it is definitely less bouncy and gives you less of an energy return than some of the other shoes on test. And that is mostly down to the stripped back version of the outsole. And so if you're used to having a more bouncy energy return, then this shoe does feel a little bit stiff compared to some of the others. Next is a shoe that could actually have been a consideration in our best support shoe category, and that is the Nike Invincible Run. This shoe has a wider forefoot, which is great for my wider feet, so a really nice fit straight out of the box on this one. It also has a higher ZoomX foam in it, giving it a real soft and cushioned feel to it. It's a really responsive shoe and gives a lot of energy return. So compared to the likes of the Under Armour shoe, you can really feel the bounciness of this one. And another bonus is the Flyknit upper makes it super breathable. The ZoomX Invincible Run Flyknit is a good shoe to consider if you're looking for an all-rounder, something that you want to take out on some faster runs and some longer runs because of the cushioning and the supports and the overall energy return that this shoe gives you. Puma made a welcome return to the running space in 2021 with 5 brand new shoes. You might have seen us mention them in our monthly show. So this is the Deviate Nitro, which Puma describes as a performance shoe, and it is super light. So it has nitrogen infused foam in it, meaning it's a really cushioned ride, gives you a lot of energy return on any kind of run. Long runs, they're super comfortable for. As you'd expect from a new launch, there is also a lot of tech in this shoe as well. It has got a carbon fiber plate, so Puma have joined the carbon fiber gang with the Deviate Nitro, so it gives you a real propulsion forwards, but without feeling too stiff at the same time. It also feels a lot more supportive than some of the shoes that have carbon fiber plates in them. Some of them, because they have such a high stack height, can feel like you're going to topple over a little bit with how much they push you forward, whereas the Deviate Nitro just feels like a little bit less aggressive than some of them. I mentioned the mid foam is infused with nitrogen, and that's actually something that Brooks Hyperion also use in theirs. So it's a technology that has been around already, and Puma have taken advantage of that. So again, this is really an all-rounder shoe. If you're looking for something that's going to be a little bit fast, maybe you're going for a 5K PB, or you want something that's going to give you a little bit of oomph on those longer runs, tempo runs, that kind of thing, then the Deviate Nitro is a good one to check out.
Next up, we're moving on to the best new update category. So that's where we celebrate the best new updates to pre-existing shoe models or ranges. Now, we also know from some of our more light-hearted videos that this is one of the things that's most scary to a lot of runners who have found a particular pair of shoes that they love and don't want to see it changed at all. But in some cases, it can be the case where you take a great shoe and make the right update and it can make it even better. So we're celebrating some of those best updates here.
Nike have kept the midsole and outsole the same as the first version of this shoe. So if you did have the first version, then it's a very similar ride really to previous versions, apart from, as I say, that plush collar and tongue, giving you a nice snug fit. Again, with my wider foot, the forefoot on this shoe does fit my wide feet quite nicely and was really good out of the box. Another great all-rounder shoe for any kind of run.
The New Balance 1080 has always been a firm favourite from a neutral cushioning perspective, and they recently released the 11th iteration of this shoe. It's hard to say for sure, but I would say personally that I found these very, very slightly firmer than the 10th version of the shoe, but it's still an incredibly plush, comfortable cushion shoe with the fresh foam technology. The outsole is very similar to the previous version and gives good grip in different conditions on the road. There's good coverage, and I'd expect this to wear pretty well for various levels of higher mileage. What's been referred to as the ultra heel design at the back here has been kept over from the 10th version, and I know that personally that gives a really nice fit. It feels snug, there's no slippage at the heel, which you can get with some shoes. And I know from other runners who I've spoken to who run this, that's a feature that they really like and that they're glad has been carried over. The upper is a really comfortable, forgiving, knitted material with what I would consider to be just about the right amount of extra protection around the sides and front of the toe area to help with movement laterally, and also those people who are prone to kind of bursting through their uppers over the course of time as they wear out. So I shouldn't expect to see that problem here, and there's a nice degree of support and comfortable close fit provided by the upper. Ultimately, this is a very comfortable cushioned shoe. So if you're looking for something to get your long runs done in comfort and that's your priority, then this is definitely a shoe that you should consider.
Hoka One One Mach's Mach 4 is a pretty new launch. You might have seen us mention it in our recent monthly show, and it takes an awful lot of inspiration from the likes of the Carbon X, Carbon X2 and Hoka's Rocket. I would say that it's a lot more similar with the Carbon X2 with its heel pull tab and also the shape of the heel. Now the laces on these ones are pretty long, so double knots are needed, but doesn't affect the shoe in any way. Cushioning's a big plus point for this shoe, so across longer mileage it still feels super comfortable. A lot of the faster shoes don't quite have that cushioning down because they are trying to save weight, but with the Mach 4 it definitely feels more cushioned and comfortable out on roads. All in all, a dramatic update to the Mach series here, and if you're looking for something that's going to feel comfortable for miles and miles, then you can't really go too wrong with Hoka's Mach 4.
These are the Brooks Levitate 4, and a lot of shoe companies focus on weight reduction as the progression for their shoes, and Brooks are no different with the Levitate 4. That's been what they've concentrated on, and they say that with the new evolution of their DNA AMP midsole, they've made this 20% lighter. There's been an update to the outsole as well, which I really like. It's got what I consider more or less full coverage, so no messing about there. Brooks say that's to speed up transitions, but ultimately on a run, I just found it gave a really nice, smooth foot strike and ride in general as I was running. In addition to that level of full coverage, it did feel like a really sticky outsole, so I had no issues with grip and I was really confident even on wet days on pretty smooth tarmac. The upper has been updated too, and it'll be no surprise to a lot of people that, like many manufacturers, Brooks are using essentially a knitted material here. They say it's improved breathability, and I'd have to agree, they're really comfortable on a run. There's a nice degree of flexibility without it feeling too stretchy, like your foot sliding around, and again with a degree of extra added protection around the sides here to stop that kind of lateral movement that sometimes in early versions of these knitted uppers you would have experienced. I mentioned that they'd concentrated on reducing the weight, but actually to hold the shoe it feels quite heavy, but as soon as you put it on, that's not how it feels at all. And in this update I felt that it was really springy, it was really comfortable, and it gave a really nice energy return on my run. I like the understated styling and the simplicity of every element of this shoe. So if you're looking for something that's comfortable, bouncy, gives you a nice level of energy return for an everyday trainer that can handle your mileage up to your longest runs, then the Brooks Levitate 4 is definitely worth a look.
The Ultraboost has been a favourite shoe for many a runner for a very long time, but the Ultraboost 21 has had some big changes made to it. So first off, the upper is made with what Adidas call prime blue. So that is recycled materials, plastics that are rescued from our oceans. So previously Adidas would release special prime blue Ocean plastic versions of their shoes in a separate range, but it's really great to see that this is now coming through in their mainstream launches. So the shoe itself and its updates, well, it's got a big chunky heel on it this time, and so that gives you a lot more bounce on the run, and let me tell you, these are very bouncy. So because of the addition to this, it does mean that these ones are slightly heavier, but I wouldn't say that it's as noticeable as some people in other reviews maybe have said. I think unless you were wearing one of these shoes and one of the older shoes as a direct comparison, you wouldn't really notice the difference that much. Now, price is obviously something to consider when we're going through all of these shoes, and these don't come cheap, but if you're looking for an all-rounder pair of shoes that you could literally wear for any run and you only wanted one pair, then the Adidas Ultraboost 21, you can't go too wrong.
Next up, we're going to be taking a look at the best support shoes on the market right now, something that we get a lot of requests from you guys for, which is why we're including it. If we're talking about support shoes, we're referring to those that help with overpronation. Now, if you don't know whether you overpronate, the best idea is to head to a specialist running store who should be able to help you. But ultimately, what we're talking about is shoes that try to minimize the rolling in movement at the ankle or potentially the knee that happens depending on the way your foot makes contact with the ground as you roll through. These are the Mizuno Wave Inspire 17. Now, as the 17 would indicate, these have been around for a while, and there are a lot of die-hard Mizuno fans who swear by these as their go-to support shoes. Ultimately, what's happened here is that Mizuno have started to introduce their Energy foam, which is a brand new variant of their midsole foam, across their whole range, and it's made a game-changing difference for them as a brand, where potentially they might have been getting a little bit left behind. Mizuno's classic Wave, which is the plastic wave that you can see running visibly through the midsole, in combination with that brand new foam, give a really nice combination of cushioning and support. So whilst they're not the most flashy shoes out there and you're unlikely to look at them and think, wow, when you put them on, they're a really pleasant, nice, consistent, solid performer, and something that you should consider if that's the sort of thing that you're looking for. They fit true to size, and there's a really nice combination of fit provided by both the upper and the lacing system, so they felt secure with no heel slippage or anything to worry about there. Ultimately, the combination of weight, support, cushioning, it's not something to shout about, but they do a really solid job. And if you're familiar with Mizuno already, then I think these will be a welcome upgrade.
Swiss brand On are known for building pretty comfortable shoes with their strapline running on clouds, and the cloud tech within the sole certainly feels like you are running on clouds with the Cloudflyers. So this is the brand new shoe from On. And the Cloudflyer is super supportive, so it has helium foam built in as well as the CloudTech technology to give extra support. This particular model includes some of the largest cloud technology and also has a much more plush tongue and collar around the heel to really lock in your ankle and feel like you've got a supportive shoe on. This shoe is pretty lightweight considering that it's built to be a support shoe, and so it doesn't feel particularly heavy when you are running in these ones. At 280 grams, that's actually not bad for a support shoe. All in all, the Cloudflyer is a great shout if you are new to the On brand and want to have a cushioned and supportive yet still pretty lightweight shoe to run in.
These are the Brooks Adrenaline GTS 21, and they're one of my favourite support shoes because they feel like they're supportive by stealth. That's both through being lightweight, they feel immediately lightweight out of the box, but more importantly when you're out on a run as well, which is quite a pleasant surprise compared to a lot of stability shoes that are out there. And it's also because of the way that they provide that stability, which is via Brooks' guide rail system, which feels particularly unobtrusive from a support perspective. Essentially, it's two pieces of firmer or higher density foam either side of the heel to provide a more guided transition through foot contact. They do have a 12mm drop, which is worth bearing in mind because that is right at the top end of the drop that you might expect from any running shoes out there at the moment. And if you're looking for a low drop shoe, this definitely isn't it. But if you're looking for a support shoe that actually feels really responsive and lightweight and could be a good all-round option, then this is definitely worth considering. Next up, we're looking at shoes to help you run fast, whether that's interval training, time trials, or flat out racing. It's an increasingly competitive and confusing category with new technology like foams and carbon plates, but we've done our best to wade through those and bring you the very best shoes for running fast.
The Saucony Endorphin Pro is a high-performance shoe that we've seen on the feet of many notable runners, and as far as we can tell, every time new stock has come in on these, they have instantly sold out. So if you are looking to get a pair of these, good luck, because they are a bit like gold dust. The aim of the Saucony Endorphin Pro is to help you smash your PBs, and in order to do that, it has speed roll technology, it's got a carbon fiber plate, and it has what Saucony call power run cushioning, making it lightweight and very bouncy. Let's be honest, they look pretty nice too. They are very, very thin on the ground when it comes to cushioning, because this is a lightweight racing shoe, so you don't have that plush tongue, but the fit of them is really, really snug in a good way. So it feels really responsive on the run and super duper light. All in all, this is a really well constructed, speedy shoe, perfect if you want to get a little bit of extra speed going, especially on those tempo runs. So Hoka's out and out racer is the Rocket X, but we've actually gone for the Carbon X2 for this section of speedier shoes for releases in the last year. And that is because we absolutely love running in the Carbon X2. It has a rubberized EVA outsole on it, and because of this, we have seen some reports that it's not quite as durable as some of the other speedy shoes on test. Now, I haven't done enough miles in it to be able to tell you exactly how long these last for, but what I would say is that I didn't have any problem with any grip or traction because of the outsole. So it's a carbon fiber plated shoe with a meta rocker, which is pretty aggressive. Because of this, it really propels your foot forward. Even walking in these, you can feel that you just want to go. Fit wise, what I would say is that the Carbon X2 is a really good fit on me despite my wider foot. So you might see on some of our other shoe reviews that I have to take out some of the lacing and some of the eyelets just to give myself a little bit of extra room, and that is most certainly the case with other Hoka models. With the Carbon X2 though, it fits me very, very nicely straight out of the box. That's able to go and run in it. So a good speedy shoe. Just be aware of the outsole and some of the issues that people have had with durability. These are Salomon road shoes. Yeah, Salomon are into the road shoes market. Now, they're more known for their trail stuff, but these are the S-Lab Phantasm, or Phantasmi, and these are what were worn by Kilian Jornet when he tried to break the 24-hour track record. So again, another shoe that has been built for doing long, fast running. They are incredibly light. I mean, there is basically nothing to them. You can see probably when I put my hand through them that you can see through the upper here. There is literally nothing to them, which is why they're so light. So this shoe has minimal padding, minimal cushioning, and is designed to be super duper fast. It's extremely breathable, as you can see from having my fingers through the mesh, that it has this mesh upper to it, which does mean that it is super breathable. But like I say, there is nothing surplus on this shoe. Just be aware that if you are coming into the world of running and you're not used to the faster types of shoes, that these are not your average shoe that you would take out for a Sunday long run. I do love how fast and how technical these shoes are. They're easy to maneuver in and have excellent ground to foot contact.
Now, we couldn't do a roundup of the best racing shoes without Nike's Vaporfly Next%. These have changed the game for running all around the world, setting world records and personal bests, and you'd be hard pushed not to find a pair of these on a start line of any race, anywhere. With revolutionary new foam in combination with a carbon plate, they're helping people to run faster than they ever have done before. And now there's a new version, the Nike Vaporfly Next% 2, which Kate from the Running Channel has taken a dedicated first look at. So if you want to find out more all about that, check out the dedicated video.
So those are just a selection of some of the top fast shoe picks from us, but honourable mentions do need to go to the New Balance Fuel Cell Elite and the Adidas Adizero Pro. Now, we did do an entire video roundup on these faster shoes. So if you want more in depth on this category, be sure to check out that video. Now we move on to the shoes that we think have stood the test of time. These are shoes that we have run in and loved and run in some more. So when you wear your pairs of shoes out, you often want to look for something totally new to give it a go. But these are the pairs of shoes that you'll want to be buying time and time again.
Nike's Pegasus range has been around for a long time, almost as long as me, embarrassingly. So this is Nike Pegasus 37. It's bouncy, straight out of the box. It uses Nike's iconic React foam, so you do get an immediately responsive, springy, bouncy. I've used that word twice already because that is how they feel, straight out of the box on your runs. There's really good coverage on the outsole, and actually the outsole has good depth to it as well, so there's really good grip, no concerns there, pretty good grip in all conditions. That in combination with the asymmetric tongue, the lacing system, and the upper gives a really snug fit that keeps you nice and secure and helps add to the fact, that feeling that in combination with the springy midsole, you feel like you could wear these shoes for any kind of run. Longer, slow runs where you feel like they're nice and forgiving and cushioned, as well as fast runs where you want the shoe to be responsive, and this is. So again, another success in the iterations of the Pegasus for Nike.
The Asics Novablast are a fast shoe, typically worn on the roads. I've had to dig these ones out and probably should have given them a bit of a clean, but you can tell that actually they don't do too bad on muddy trails either. So the fit of these shoes, especially for my wide feet, is super comfortable. It's got a slightly cushioned tongue, which makes it a really nice, comfortable fit, but still feels pretty light to run in as well. So good for all round long runs and stuff that's a little bit faster as well. So we did actually include these in our best shoes roundup video last year too, and it's made a welcome return to our shoes that we think have stood the test of time. So the Ortholite insole is made from recycled materials, and that combined with the flight foam in the outsole makes it a really bouncy and cushioned shoe. It's one that I have enjoyed running in time and time again.
This is the Brooks Ghost 13, and like its predecessors, it uses a midsole foam called DNA Loft. Brooks say that this is the shoe with its softest cushioning in its range, and I'd have to agree, they're really comfortable straight out of the box. They feel soft and they feel like they'll absorb anything that you throw at them, really. One of the best things about the Ghost 13 is that they haven't messed with it too much over the years. And in fact, if you take a look at the laces, the tongue, that combination actually feels like it belongs to a much older shoe. But if you haven't ever had any problems with the way that the shoes lace up and fit you in the last 5 or 10 years, then actually that's going to be more familiar and you might like it. The upper itself has been updated. It feels really nice and breathable, and in combination with the lacing and tongue does give a really nice fit. So if you want a shoe that you feel like you can head out for really long runs and they're going to soak up the punishment of hitting the roads, then the Brooks Ghost 13 is a really good option.
And On's Cloudflow, another one that I've dug out of my cupboard for this review, which I've really enjoyed running in. And actually, I was saying about the Asics Novablast and how they actually weren't too bad on muddy trails. These ones, if you have got a combination of running on the road and then some sort of slightly more technical stuff, I wouldn't say they're really muddy trails, but these do perform really, really well as a bit of a hybrid shoe. So it's got the usual On cloud tech. So there are 18 different Helion cloud tech clouds along the bottom, which do give you incredible grip. The upper is breathable, it's a really stylish looking shoe and is super duper comfy. Again, no problems when it comes to fit on my wide foot for the On Cloudflow. It's got a really nice plush feel around the heel, which really keeps it in place, but then it's got a bit of a minimalist tongue on it as well. So it does feel like a pretty light shoe, although it's very robust in its outsole. So although the cushioning in the midsole is moderate, this is a shoe that you can really go the distance in or pick up the pace for something a little bit speedier as well.
Okay, that was a pretty comprehensive list, but which ones would I choose if I had to put my money where my mouth is? Well, ultimately, if I wanted one pair of shoes that I could wear for all of the different types of runs that I'd want to be doing, I'd be choosing between the Brooks Levitate 4, which I really like, and the Pegasus 37. Probably the Pegasus that edges it slightly for me, just in terms of how responsive and springy they feel straight out of the box. And alongside those, the Nike Vaporfly Next Percent still has it for me, even though the Endorphin Pro does push it pretty close from Saucony.
For me, this is such a tough call to make because there are so many different categories within this video that I could pick one from each of them and still not be satisfied. But if I only had to run in one pair of shoes for the rest of my life from the shoes included in this video, it's gonna be the Asics Novablast. I just love that you can do faster stuff in this, you can do longer stuff in this, and it really does feel like something that I'd be happy running in for the rest of my life. So there you go, our top picks for the best shoes out there.
So what do you think? Do you have a pair of shoes that you swear by, or do any of the shoes that we've mentioned take your fancy and you're gonna be heading to the shops or online to check them out? Let us know in the comments below, and we'll see you next time on the Running Channel.